Hi, my name is Harrison Cheung, and I'm here to talk about my book, Christian Bale, The Inside Story of the Darkest Batman. The book is a biography of Christian Bale, and I lived and worked with him for almost 10 years and decided I wanted to write a book to describe those years and to see what it's like to be a young actor in Hollywood. I think Christian is an unusual actor in many ways. I mean, he's the star of one of the biggest franchises in history, Batman, and he's also maintained an air of mystery. He's insisted on privacy. So there's a lot of people who are very curious about the real man behind the bat mask. What happened was I was a big fan of Steven Spielberg's movie Empire of the Sun, which came out in '87. And the movie unfortunately didn't do very well at the box office, so I decided to write Spielberg a fan letter. And I wrote Spielberg a fan letter, and a couple months later I got a signed poster back and a really nice letter from Spielberg's office saying, "Thank you for your letter, and by the way, would you like to write a letter to the star of the film? He is living in England." And I did. I wrote Christian a fan letter. He wrote back. I wrote him another letter. He wrote back. We became pen pals for a little while. And then one day I got a call from his dad, and they were moving to America and he wanted to meet me. So I ended up meeting the Bales. I was working then in internet marketing, and I came up with an idea about promoting Christian's career on the internet. And in a couple of years, the Bales told me, come on down to LA and work on Christian's career. So that's how I met him and the family. It was a combination of both business and personal relationships. The Bales were very insistent that if we were working together, that it had to be like a family. So not only was I Christian's personal assistant, his marketing manager, I was also the chief cook and bottle washer. I took care of Christian, his house, his dogs. I cooked for him. I took care of his dad. And definitely whenever Christian was out on location at a shoot, I would take care of the house, his cars, a little bit of everything. He lived mostly with his dad in Los Angeles, so his dad and I also became very good friends. And I think his dad counted on me as a second son. His dad also knew that I was very capable in taking care of a lot of day-to-day household chores for them. I considered it an investment. You know, I was originally in Toronto when I first made contact with the Bales, and when they asked me to move to LA, I was excited at the opportunity. I've been a big movie buff all my life, so the whole idea of moving to LA and working for a promising up-and-coming actor, it was exciting to me, and it was, you know, a labor of love. I think Bale heads, Christian Bale fans, they're going to be a little bit surprised about how he made it to America. I think a lot of people tend to forget that he was a former child actor. And that opens up an entire can of worms about his relationship with his parents. It wasn't necessarily a happy childhood by any means. And there were a lot of financial pressures that were behind the scenes that I think force an actor to make certain choices. So I think his fans are probably going to be really surprised about how his career evolved. I think they'll be delighted to know how instrumental they were in building up his in building up his career, in building up his clout, and in getting him editorial coverage. He was the biggest star of the internet in the 1990s, and that was all a giant grassroots effort. His grassroots dominance of the internet was a very carefully orchestrated campaign. I was the first one to build an actor's website, the first one to build an actor's internet news group, first one to put an EPK on the internet. We did a lot of pioneering technologies on his website to build an audience. We built relationships with Blockbuster, a couple other video rental outlets, so that the secondary market would discover him. And Christian's movies, they may not have done well at the box office initially, but they ended up doing very, very well in video rental. So it was an orchestrated campaign for an actor who had a cult following, and the internet was a good way of multiplying that cult following into something bigger. I think there's a larger issue about child actors. When a child actor decides that they're going to do a role, is it really the child who wants to pursue that career, or is it a parent? And I think more often than not, one or both parents are living vicariously through their child. And in Christian's case, because he was raised mostly by his father, I think that ended up skewing his ambitions and his real wants. He's talked quite often about wanting to quit acting every day. He just didn't like it. He couldn't take the rejection. And you can imagine going to an audition and getting rejected every single day can be very discouraging. And it was always his father who encouraged him to stay the course and to persevere. Christian's father was the one who wanted to move to America. And I think both his father and his mother have not really been accurately portrayed in the press and in Christian's official bios, and it's just become an urban legend as to what his mother is like and what his father is like. But his father was the ambitious one. His father wanted to move to America, and that's quite a challenge to move halfway around the world and pursue a career when you don't have a green card, when you don't have a visa, when you don't have a stable home base, and you're really, really counting on your young son's career sticking. So it's quite a gamble, and I think Christian felt a lot of pressure on his shoulders to make it work. For the first couple of years when he moved to Los Angeles, he still considered England home. So flying back to London, he would say, "I'm going home." And his father hated that. His father wanted him to think of LA as home, because the mindset was really important. His father realized that if Christian considered America home, then Christian would be determined to do anything and everything to stay in America. So it was a big cultural divide that his father was trying to cross. Parents, if you've got child actors, you have to make sure that they're confident, and you have to make sure that they can persevere through countless rejection. And David, Christian's father, was absolutely instrumental in building up Christian's confidence. David, every day until Christian moved out of the house at the age of 23, David would bring his son breakfast in bed, knock on the door, and say, "Who's the best actor in the world?" And Christian would say, I am. And that was just their little father-son routine to bolster confidence. It was so many different things that his father did to make sure that Christian wouldn't take any rejection personally, that Christian would have confidence in his own talent and abilities, and believe that he was better than the competition. So it was quite an interesting father-son relationship. I don't know what other families are like. I could definitely see the value of bolstering confidence. I do think it was a little bit unusual, especially when you're raised by a single parent. I think actually if you look in Hollywood today, some of the more troubled souls out there, they tend to be raised by a single parent. And I think the challenge in Hollywood, if it's a single parent raising an actor, then that parent is completely financially dependent on their child, and it's very hard for them to say no. I think the public likes to see celebrities as real human beings. And if an image is too controlled, if they hide behind a cloak of privacy, then you're only going to get an official press release describing the latest celebrity going to the latest charity. And it's more interesting to see an actor warts and all, because I think it humanizes that person. It's no longer a glowing Oscar-winning, Golden Globe-winning actor who donates his time for charities. No, it's someone who happens to have issues, can lose his temper, might bang up his car, might be drinking one night. I think people like to see that the the idol is on a pedestal of clay. People always ask me, what would Christian do when he reads the book? And I would think that his reaction should hopefully be, oh, this is why I have anger management issues. I knew him long enough and during a period of time in his career where I could see what forces were at work that sort of shaped his personality. So I think if he's interested in any self-exploration, I've already helped him document those years. The voice that I heard on that Terminator rant, he definitely has a temper. And I think it's been percolating over the years. And obviously now with the success of the Batman franchise, he has probably fewer people telling him no. So when I knew him, he already had a temper. I could see him have issues and arguments with his father, with his parents, with his sister, with his mother. I think the interesting thing about that tape coming out is that people could hear his anger firsthand for the first time. I don't know whether it was justified or not. I think creative people are always going to have a greater sensitivity. That said, when I heard the Terminator rant, I thought, you know what? Even actors can blow a take. That's why there's take one, take two, take three, on and on and on. So if Christian was angry at someone for making a mistake on set, it's not like actors don't blow takes. So I definitely thought the 4-minute rant with the 39 F-bombs was a little bit out of proportion to the perceived offense. Unfortunately, it all comes down to box office. If he was not if he was not the star of the movie, if he was not the draw for the movie, I don't think they would be tolerating that type of behavior on set. I think a good producer is going to want to make sure that the set is a happy and healthy environment for everyone, every member of the crew. It's tough when there's anyone being abusive on set.